There were years where I was a silent individual. There were days, even weeks, where I wouldn't talk to anyone. And you would think not speaking and not talking would make it to where there isn't any type of drama in your life because that logically makes sense. It logically makes sense to silence equals no drama. But here's something I've realized over my life, over my 26 years of living. No matter what you do, no matter how you act, there is always going to be a person or a few people or groups of people that will hate you regardless. I would say I was the most quiet in college. In college, I didn't really talk that much. And through my experience, I learned a lot. Some people would see the reflection of themselves in me. Some people would try to get a reaction out of me. Some people liked me more. Some people hated me more. It gives you a very deep look into how different everyone is. And it allows you to see past a person's eyes and to see their thoughts. I think the most interesting thing that I was ever told was by these two women. I had been nice to these women. I had been respectful to these women. I even gave these women hugs, told them they looked good, told them they were beautiful, right? And their words stick with me still to this day. They said, "You look like you hate the world." Some variation of that. They said, "It feels like you hate the world." This was their interpretation of me. This was how they viewed me and how they saw me based on silence. This was the story that they had created for me due to my lack of speech. Their mind interpreted me as someone who was extremely hateful, even though I was quiet and didn't start any drama. And that spoke volumes. I think about that to this day because that was their interpretation of me. That's how they viewed me. Remind you, I was nice to these women, gave them hugs, told them they looked good, told them I hope you as good, and their interpretation of me was extremely negative. But that goes back to how they truly feel about themselves. Now, I interpreted them different ways because one big way I interpreted them as was man haters because they saw me as hateful even though I was a kind soul and was kind towards them. So my mind went into these women just are hateful themselves because why would a man who's being silent, not starting drama, why would you see that as him hating the world? Why would that be your first thought is he hates the world? Now, one thing I thought of was maybe these women were a thing I like to call survival women, meaning that they have dealt with so many different types of bad men and they've had to maneuver through so many bad situations with men that now they hate men. And I can see that from their perspective. Again, this is all me interpreting how I believe that they were as individuals. Now, one of them I found out she was dating like 3 or 4 dudes. And then the other one had a whole bunch of dudes all over her. They were like obsessed with her. And that's just how I interpreted them. And I thought their interpretation of me was very interesting because I would think since a man isn't starting drama and stays to himself and doesn't bother nobody, I don't interpret that as the man being evil or hateful. I interpret that as this man doesn't want to start any drama. He doesn't want to start no confrontation. And he just stays to himself and maybe he's a possible introvert. Now that's just one experience I had of being a silent man. Another one was like I said before, was people who would try to get reactions out of me. I'm trying not to move too much in this chair because it makes a lot of noise. One thing that was interesting is I remember this dude, and I've realized that people just be on drugs a lot. It's something I realized people be on crack, weed, be drunk, so they just be talking and shit. I realized he was trying to get a reaction out of me, but it was interesting to me because I was silent. I remember I was going through a whole lot, and I was sitting in this room at my college. There were like these purple rooms, and I was sitting in the room, and he came in, and he was like, "That nigga in the corner, he smell like fish," and it makes me kind of laugh when I think about it because there were 2 other dudes in the room, and we kind of just looked at each other, And then we looked at him, and then like nobody said shit. We just went back to what we was doing because we just kind of looked at him like he was stupid because it was clear that he was looking for attention. He was trying to do that corny bully shit. And like I be saying, nowadays bullying is corny. And when I say bullying, I mean like full on trying to hurt somebody's feelings. Not like you just messing with your friend, y'all kind of just shooting the shit. It was funny because he was acting like a high schooler. And there were people that would constantly do that throughout my years of college. And even my last 2 years of high school, people would do that. There was a lot of women who would do that. A lot of dudes too. And it was always interesting because all their interpretations were different. For example, some people would genuinely think that I was sad. Some individuals would think that I was depressed. Some thought I had this deep rage or hatred for the world and all this anger. Some women even tried to get at me because I was silent. And I know from observations, some women will do that, and then you start actually liking them, and then they don't like you no more because it's just like a whole challenge thing for some of them. But some of them genuinely do start finding you attractive and thinking you sexy just because your personality or vibe of being quiet. And then some people would come to me and talk to me a lot because they knew I'd be quiet and I would allow them to voice themselves. I remember there was this girl. She was a cheerleader and she was super popular. And for whatever reason, she always randomly talked to me. And I knew it wasn't because she liked me, it was because she wanted everybody to like her. I've also realized this: if I don't like a person, they hate me. And what I mean by that is if I don't like respond, excuse me, if I don't like them off rip, they usually try to flip it and hate me. It's very funny. Or what they'll do is they'll try really hard to get me to like them. And then when I am starting to like them, they'll try to flip the script and try to act like they're cooler than me and try to, the mind games, the hot and cold bullshit. And it was funny because I used to go into this class during lunchtime when I was a senior. There was this older lady, and it was her, it was the cheerleader. And I used to just sit in the classroom, and all they would do is literally try to pick on me and tease me. It was really strange. And then when they seen that I wasn't really budging and I wasn't really going for their stuff, they like unfriended me off of Facebook and all this shit. It was kind of funny because it put me in the perspective of knowing they both were just extremely insecure, which is something I've also learned. If you're secure in yourself, people have a problem with you. And if a person is insecure and a person is secure in themselves, then the friendship isn't going to work because they're going to get annoyed by each other. It just is what it is. But they used to tell me stuff like they would call me grumpy or say I had an attitude problem and all this extra stuff. And I'm like, just because I'm calm and I don't start any drama, you guys think that I have an attitude problem? I'll look at them just like these. And it was always funny because a lot of people would do that. And I'm probably going to make this a series, but I said all that to say this. If you are a person who is silent, understand that you probably aren't the issue. Matter of fact, I would say you aren't the issue. People around you are just going to be insecure when they see that you're silent. It just is what it is. And they're going to interpret it however they want to. Some people are going to try to impress you. Some people might even try to date you. Some people are going to hate you because you're quiet and don't start no drama. Some people are going to create a full character of you and say that you're an angry, bitter person, even though you don't talk. Some people don't like your tone of how you talk. Some people are going to try to be best buddies with you and try to get as many reactions out of you as they want because they create a value system. Because they'll look at you as, okay, if he's not laughing at it, it probably really isn't funny because it takes a lot for this guy to respond to anything. So it's like if something is really funny, if I chuckle, oh, it must really be funny if he chuckles. Shit like that. It's very interesting. I just want to share my experience. It can even make people think you're cooler because you're silent. Some people will actually interpret you as cool. Um, and these are just all the interpretations that I have seen with being silent. And if y'all want to hear more, I'll tell y'all more. But yeah, but silence has helped as well. I'm not going to say it like silence hasn't helped in a lot of situations. Just being completely unbothered has most definitely helped in some situations. It allows you to 100% know who's secure and who's insecure because the people who are secure are going to see you just as a chill, relaxed person. They're not going to see you as hateful and all that other bullshit. I am going to make another video on this because I have also been very extroverted and been very talkative before in my life. So I do want you guys to, you know, see that experience, get to hear and listen about that experience of me being a talkative person and how that affected my life. You guys have a good one.